Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's 1 p.m. and we will call the March 5th meeting of the Planning Advisory Committee to order. Could I have a motion to adopt today's agenda? Mayor Elmsley, seconded by Member Barkwell. All in favor? That carries. Is there any declarations of pecuniary interest this afternoon? Okay, seeing none. Just before we move into public meeting reports, I was unable to attend last meeting in person for a conflict and had to Zoom in. And because of my physical absence, I heard through the rumor mill that this will be Manager Sisson's last PAC meeting, and thought that we should recognize that. And I think Director Roaz, you like to say a few words?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. Yes, I would like to recognize Christina Sisson, who will be retiring on April 1st of this year after a very long and historic career with our municipality, almost 2 decades. She joined us in around 2007 and has really revamped the engineering division. I joined the organization 3 years after Christina joined in 2010, and Christina was the staple or the foundation of our organization. She revamped everything from our development review process, our standardizations, how we meet with PAC, how we report, and she trained a lot of our consultants and engineers that we use today, both internal and external. So I like to thank her for her many years of dedication, her innovation, her skills in the Black Belt program, and so on and so on. We will be hosting a celebration for Christina on April 1st at the Lindsay Golf and Country Club from 4 to 7. We're getting the invites now, but please feel free to drop by. So again, I'd like to both congratulate and thank Christina for her multiple years of service.
I want to thank everyone, and it's March 27th, not April 1st, the party. The party's on the 27th, so if you want to make it, but maybe one doesn't want everybody to show up. Party planning has never really been something we've discussed at length. I just want to thank everyone for all of the time here. I appreciate Juan's kind words and all the accolades. At the same time, I really feel it's necessary that when you commit to working for a municipality, you give it all. That's what's expected. And when you live here, it makes it that much easier to do so. And so this is my community. This is what I care about. This is, just something I saw as what I was supposed to do. Councillor Richardson's always telling me, this is how I was raised. This is how I was raised. Well, I feel that way too. This was how I was raised. And I think when you have the opportunity to work with such young, talented people who actually encourage you to keep doing better, it really helps in all kinds of ways. But thank you very much for today. I wasn't expecting this. Thank you.
So sorry, in addition, on the final note, I also like to acknowledge that Kirk Tibbs has accepted the position of manager of development engineering, starting the day before Christina retires. So it's perfect. And I'm not that young. I'm not too far away from retiring. So maybe another 5 years left for me. So I'm hoping to join Christina soon. Thank you.
Congratulations to both of you. And yeah, I was gonna say something about the date thing, April 1st. So this maybe not April Fools. Okay, so public meeting reports today. As required under the Planning Act, a public meeting is being held prior to the committee making a recommendation on this application. All recommendations that come out of this afternoon will be forwarded to the next regular council meeting on March 18th. The purpose of this public hearing is to allow the committee to gather information on the applications before us, to hear those wishing to make submissions on applications, and to allow the committee to ask questions of the applicants, interested parties, and staff. Everyone speaking today is requested to state their name for the public record, and in the interest of time, the committee respectfully asks that you keep your comments to no more than 5 minutes. When the appropriate time comes after the planner makes their presentation, members of the public will be provided an opportunity to speak to any public meeting items on the agenda. At that point, please either unmute yourself or turn on your video or come to the podium and press the speak button to activate the microphone. With that, we will move into item 3.1, Plan 2025-018, an application to amend the Township of Verulam zoning bylaw 6-78 at 96 Kawartha Lakes Road 30, Fenelon Falls, 420 Hickory Beach Road, Fisher. Mr. Wilson? Mr. Wilson, go ahead. If you can give us a quick summary, that would be great.
Hi, folks. Thanks. My name is Robert Wilson. I'm an urban planner from Dillon Consulting Limited here on behalf of the City of Kawartha Lakes Development Services Division. Thank you to the applicant for being here today, to staff and the chair and the rest of the Planning Advisory Committee for considering this zoning bylaw amendment to permit the use of, I just heard we're not sharing. Oh, there we go. Everybody sees that on screen there?
Yep, all good.
Yeah, sorry about that, folks. Pardon me. All right. So thanks to staff, chair, the applicant for being here today. This zoning bylaw amendment is to permit the use of an existing non-compliant contractor's yard. The property is not zoned to permit a contractor's yard. As such, the applicant proposes to rezone a portion of the subject lands to permit the use of the contractor's yard in accordance with the zoning bylaw. Notice for this application was originally given to each landowner, agencies, and departments in accordance with manners of the Planning Act. This is the first circulation and appearance of PAC for this application. There we go. Looks like we've got Raf sharing his screen. Okay. So the subject lands as shown on screen are located at 96 County Road 30, legally known as Part Lot 16 Concession 1, Township of Verulam in the City of Kawartha Lakes. Next slide, please. The subject lands encompass a total area of approximately 38.2 hectares, with approximately 683 meters of frontage on County Road 30 and approximately 318 meters on Hickory Beach Road. Existing uses on these lands include agricultural crops and a contractor's yard. Surrounding uses are predominantly agriculture with rural residential to the east and south. Next slide, please. These subject lands are designated rural and environmental protection in the City of Kawartha Lakes official plan. And next slide. They are zoned general agriculture A1 on Schedule A of the Township of Verulam zoning bylaw 6-87. We can go to the next slide, please. So the lands subject to rezoning, outlined in yellow, are approximately 2 hectares in size, consist of a shed with a gross floor area of 1,121.7 square meters, used to store material and equipment for an excavation company, Fisher Excavating and Grading. The applicant is proposing to rezone the subject site from General Rural Zone A to General Rural Exception Zone to permit the use of a contractor's yard in compliance with Township of Verulam zoning bylaw 6-87. Staff are working with the applicant to address deficiencies with the initial application and have requested a planning justification report, an updated sketch identifying natural heritage features on the land, as well as an updated natural heritage evaluation addressing the existing contractor's yard and how the potential impacts of the use will be mitigated. At this time, this fulfills the statutory public meeting requirement as set out in the Planning Act. Planning staff respectfully recommend that zoning bylaw amendment D06 2025-003 through Plan 2025-018 be received for informational purposes only, and referred back to staff until the applicant provides further direction and the necessary technical studies have been addressed. Both the applicant and staff are available to assist with any questions you may have at this time. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Committee, any questions of Mr. Wilson at this time? Member Barkwell?
Thank you very much, Robert. I appreciate your getting back to me yesterday. A couple of questions I had. I think that this is an information meeting, so the application is not fully complete. So I understand there are other information that's coming, and the concern I have after having visited the property is will the bylaw, when it comes out, designate how much parking? There's a lot of trucking, rather than just a construction yard. I understand you have to have trucks and you dump some sand and that sort of thing. I also would looking forward that part of it is environmentally protected, and I don't, the other, the large diagram doesn't show very much about where it is, but I was just wondering, it appears that there's kind of a creek or some wetlands running through, and so I guess that will come with your further information once you go forward with that.
Through the chair, thank you, Mr. Barkwell. Yes, so we're hoping to address some of those details through the planning justification report, specifically the use of the site as it's currently being used as a contractor's yard, at which point we will identify if parking is required, and the natural heritage evaluation will be used to address any environmental protection that needs to be considered on the site.
Okay. Councillor Warren, you had questions?
Through you, it was on the natural heritage. If it's already built, then how do we deal with that sort of thing if it's already there?
Through you, Mr. Chair. So the existing shed was predominantly used previously for agricultural uses and was in compliance with the zoning bylaw. The natural heritage evaluation is going to address how the excavation company and the contractor's yard will address natural heritage considerations in regards to the new use.
Great. Any further questions, Member Barkwell?
Sorry, just one other. Have you had any public information, any feedback from the public as yet?
To the best of my knowledge, we've received no public feedback on the application. Through you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Any further questions of Mr. Wilson at this time? Okay. Seeing and hearing none. Does the applicant, owner, or their agent wish to speak to the application?
Good afternoon, members. It's Tom DeBoer with GD Consulting here on behalf of the owner. Robert and I have been working on this file. It originated from a violation when one of the neighbors had complained in the past. And when I say in the past, it was over 3 years ago when it was first initiated. So we've been working through with municipal law enforcement to correct this measure. One of the measures was to complete the rezoning of the property to allow this use to continue. Mr. Fisher bought this property several years ago and has been operating the business there for several years. The use of the property predominantly is the storage of his equipment. He does from time to time bring in stone to cut before he goes into the shoreline job. Other than that, he's not using it for material storage. He's definitely not open to the public. He has no facilities to facilitate any of those processes. So essentially, he's just looking to keep his equipment and his commercial vehicles parked on this agricultural piece. And that's where we're trying to bring it into compliance. He doesn't live on the property, he has another dwelling elsewhere. So again, it's just a staging area for his equipment at this point. So if there's any other questions, concerns, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
Okay, committee, any questions at this time? All right, everything's clear. Is there anyone from the public wishing to speak to the application? Anyone from the public wishing to speak to the application? Calling a third and final time. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak to the application? Okay, seeing and hearing none. Committee, what is your recommendation to council? Councillor Richardson?
Thank you, through you, Chair, to move as printed.
All right, a motion that the report plan 2025-018, an application to amend the Township of Verlem zoning bylaw 6-78 at 96 Kawartha Lakes Road 30, Fenelon Falls 420 Hickory Beach Road, Fisher, be received for information and referred to staff. Seconder for the motion, Councillor Warren. Any discussion? Calling the question, all in favor? And that carries. Thank you. At this point, the public meeting on this matter has been concluded. The public meeting held under the Planning Act is now adjourned. We will move into item 4, which is deputations, 4.1. Mr. Kevin Duguay, with relation to item 6.1 on the agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, committee members. For the record, my name is Kevin Duguay. I'm planning consultant for the Faria family, owner of the subject property. My delegation today is to confirm that I have received and considered the staff report that is being considered at your planning advisory committee meeting today. That is Plan 2025-016. The report recommends that the land use approval applications, official plan amendment, and zoning bylaw amendment be approved, and accordingly that the implementing bylaws be advanced to the municipal council for approval. I can advise that my clients and I are certainly agreeable with the recommendation, and I can also advise the advisory committee members and staff that my client would be desirous to proceed with the formal consent severance application following the completion of the forthcoming final leg of the OPA and zoning bylaw amendment application. And the PAC members may recall, Mr. Chairman and staff, that this matter was considered at a previous planning meeting, and I don't recall that there's any public delegation. I'm not been aware through this process of the concern raised by public. There were some agency comments, all of which, from my perspective, have been addressed through various technical studies and through planning justification report and supplementary planning justification report, and some additional details regarding the configuration of lot severance. I make myself available to respond to any queries. Before I conclude, on a professional note, I would like to acknowledge and thank Christina Sisson for her service to your community. She and I had occasion to work on many projects and files over the years, so congratulations on your forthcoming retirement, and thank you for your years of work. I'm now available to respond to questions should any arise. Thank you.
Thank you. Committee, any questions for Mr. Duguay at this time? Okay, seeing none, can I have a motion to receive the deputation? Mayor Elmsley, seconded by Councillor Richardson. Any discussion? Calling the question, all in favor? And that carries. Thank you. Item number 5, correspondence. I believe we have none, Joel. Thank you. Item 6, regular and returned reports. Item 6.1, Plan 2025-016, applications to amend the City of Kawartha Lakes official plan and Township of Dalton zoning bylaw 10-77 at 2475 Houses Rapids Road, Washego.
Hello, good day.
Ms. Watson, go ahead.
Thank you, good day. Just waiting for the slide to show up on the screen, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much. So good day. My name is Amanda Burr-Watson. I am a registered professional planner with Dillon Consulting. I'm here on behalf of the City of Kawartha Planning Division. I thank you and the applicant's agent for being here today virtually. To staff and the chair, and the rest of the Planning Committee for their time in considering this official plan and zoning bylaw amendment applications, which are intended to support a future consent application that would be intended to sever lands and create a new residential lot. Notice for both these applications have been provided to the public, agencies, and relevant departments in accordance with the Planning Act. It is correct that no public comments have been received to date, and that all comments received from relevant departments and agencies have been addressed. The applications being 201-2024-008 and 206-2024-023 were presented at a PAC meeting in January for information. As noted, the subject lands shown on the screen are located at 247 Housie Rapids Road and legally known as Concession 13, Part 31, Registered Plan 57R 99, Part 1 in the Township of Dalton, now the City of Court of the Lakes. Next slide, please. As you can see, the subject lands are irregular shape and encompass a total area of approximately 5.53 hectares or 13.6 acres in size, with about 60 meters or 190 feet of frontage along Housie Rapids Road. The lands also have frontage along Black River Road to the south, which is in two parts, one section being about 31.5 meters or 100 feet, and the other section being about 25 meters or 82 feet. There is an existing single dwelling with accessory buildings located in the northwest portion of the subject lands. The remainder of the lands are treed and considered to be backlot, as they are abutting residential lots adjacent to both Housie Rapids Road and Black River Road. The lands to the north are outside of the City of Kawartha boundary, and surrounding uses are generally agricultural or treed lots, with some residential uses to the east, south, and west of the property. Next slide, please. Most of the subject lands are designated as waterfront in the City of Kawartha Lakes official plan. However, the northwest area is designated as rural, and there is a City of Kawartha Lakes river buffer of 15 meters that runs through the lands located within parts of both existing land designations. Next slide. The existing zoning, when you look at the Dalton zoning bylaw 1077 for the Township of Dalton, most of the subject lands are within the rural general zone. However, there is the existing portion of land that fronts Black River Road that is within the limited service residential exception 1 zone. Next slide, please. The applicant is seeking to amend the official plan and rezone the property to support a future land severance, which is intended to create a new residential lot with approximately, as I said, 0.41 hectares or just over an acre in size, and a frontage of the existing 31.5 meters or 102 feet along Black River Road. As proposed, the remainder would contain the existing dwelling on the northwest portion of the lands and vacant backlot with frontage onto both Housie Rapids Road and Black River Road. It's important to note that a separate consent application would be required to permit this severance, and to date, I am not aware of any application that has been received by the city. The proposed official plan amendment would create a policy exception on the water frontage designation under section 20.7.9, and this would be to address the lot area and minimum lot frontage requirements to allow for that new lot creation. The proposed zoning bylaw amendment would allow for rezoning the proposed severed parcel from limited residential exception 1 and rural general zone to a limited service residential holding zone. It would also rezone the proposed retain from rural general zone to a rural general exception 9 holding zone. This would address the minimum area requirements and prohibit future severances. Both the proposed zones include a holding provision, which would be removed after the proposed consent for the lot creation is granted. In summary, planning staff do support the proposed official plan amendment despite the minimum lot area policy, as the proposed severance involves an irregularly shaped lot that is currently wooded and is subject to some water drainage and borders both existing residential lots. The land would be difficult to farm, and the relief from the area and frontage requirements does not appear to negatively impact the subject or surrounding lands. Planning staff also supports the proposed rezoning, which align with the waterfront designation of the official plan. The official plan and zoning bylaw amendments are supported in the provincial planning policy statement to 2024 and in the City of Kawartha Lakes official plan. In staff's opinion, the amendments are appropriate. But accordingly, staff recommend that the official plan amendment respecting both applications be approved. I thank you very much for your time and listening. Both myself and the applicant's agents are obviously here to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Thank you. Committee, any questions of Ms. Watson at this time? Councillor Warren?
Yes, thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for that. So in the report, it says that it has to go through a severance application. So doesn't that have to happen first before we approve this? That's my first question.
If I may, thank you through the chair. That is generally the process. Most often people do apply for the consent and create the lot, and a condition of that is to change the official plan and zoning bylaw if necessary. In this instance, the developer has chosen to apply in a different order, and there are no rules against that process.
Director Barry just has a comment she'd like to make.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. To the member, when the development permissions are already established as of right, and there isn't a need for council ultimately to make a decision on adding a new use or altering an established set of policies, those are circumstances where you would typically see the consent go forward first, because there wouldn't be a need to change the fundamental policies. In this case, the official plan policies and zonings needs to be changed by council first before we can conditionally approve a consent to establish those underlying fundamental policy permissions. Hope that clarifies.
Councillor Warren?
So we go through this process. What if it's turned down, the severance, at that point?
Thank you for the question. So again, through the chair, there would be little to no risk to the applicant to have their consent be denied. There is delegated approval authority from council to the Director of Development Services, carving the way or paving the way, so to speak, for an approval of a consent, conditional approval of the consent, are these two obstacles. So with council granting permission for the official plan to be changed and also for the zoning to be changed, there would be little to no reason for consent to be denied.
Mayor Elmsley?
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. It says that it would go through with a holding symbol on it, but I note under the recommendation for the report, it does not mention the holding symbol. And just wondering, should it, or are we waiving the holding symbol? What is the circumstance?
Director Barry?
Sure, I can take that one. Just taking a look at the report recommendations, and they do refer to both the draft official plan amendment as well as the draft zoning bylaw amendment that are contained as appendices to the staff report. So it's actually within the text of the zoning bylaw in the appendix where we would see the language both for in implementing the H as well as removing the H. So it doesn't need to be separately noted in the recommendation.
Thank you. Do we really feel it's necessary if we're paving the way for a severance to happen that we need to have the holding symbol?
At the risk of stepping on my colleague's toes here, although I see the planner smiling, so perhaps I'll just maybe summarize what I've heard today to answer the question, Mr. Mayor. So we did hear the planner's report and description of the merits of applying the H in the first place. This is in an abundance of caution to ensure that a consent application is submitted, that it is submitted in accordance with what is proposed and ultimately what could be approved by council. It is a large parcel, and it does include lands that are designated not only waterfront but also rural. So as I say, in an abundance of caution and to ensure the right steps are carried out, I have heard and understand why an H would be suggested. This would also avoid potentially the need for another rezoning application. For example, if a consent came through indicating a proposed lot configuration that was different, so what we're seeing on the site plan now in a different area of the property, again, being the size that it is. So we would want to help the owners and the applicant avoid that possibility, and also the potential to deny the consent if it was to come in indicating a lot in a different area of the property or in a different configuration. All that said, Mr. Chair, we also did hear a deputation from the applicant who indicated the owner's desire and his intention to file a consent application, which is good news. That is not information that we have heard to date. And I can agree with the planner's notes that we haven't yet received the consent application, but we appreciate confirmation in that regard. And I do leave it up to the will of the committee, Mr. Chair, to decide whether, all of that said, you believe that an H is still necessary.
Councillor Richardson?
I'm good now. That answered my question. It was the fact that if you have the holding symbol on there, once it's removed for that proposed severance, then we move forward with the grant of the application. So it just makes sense to me. So thanks for that further explanation.
Any further questions from committee? Any further discussion? Is there a recommendation that the committee would like to make to council? Mayor Elmsley?
Well, I'll make the recommendation that report plan 2025-016, application to amend the City of Kawartha Lakes official plan and Township of Dalton zoning bylaw 1077 at 2475 Houses Rapids Road, Washago, Faria, be received for information, that an official plan amendment respecting application DO1 2024-008, substantially in the form attached as Appendix D to report Plan 2025-016 be approved and adopted by Council, that a zoning bylaw amendment respecting application DO6 2024-023, substantially in the form attached as Appendix E to the report Plan 2025-016, be approved and adopted by Council, and that the Mayor and Clerk be authorized to execute the documents required by the approval of this application.
No holding.
All right, seconder for the motion, Councillor Richardson. Any discussion? No discussion. Calling the question. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. That carries. Thank you. All right. Before we move for adjournment this afternoon, Director Barry and I had a conversation about bringing an update to PAC on where some of the subdivisions are in process or whatever, just in light of economic conditions and the couple of MZOs that are around Lindsay and the larger subdivisions like Craft and Tribute, Flato, Bromont, just where they are, whether they're pulling permits for the spring, whether there's applications that are sitting in planning and what the holdup for those may or may not be, or whether they've put a pause and just waiting to see what happens, just so the committee is aware and that the public is aware where some of those key projects lie. So this is basically just a heads up to committee that if you've got questions or anything like that, that will be on April's agenda. Anything you would like to add, Director Barry?
No, I think it's a great opportunity, Mr. Chair, and I'm glad for it. I think it's a good time to give an update to our committee and the community on, in particular, those applications that have already been in front of the committee, sort of these larger scale or even higher profile applications where you make recommendations and you see them carry through to council and ultimately those decisions, and then you may not see shovels in the ground and you may be wondering why. So it's a good opportunity to provide some maybe new information to some, and thank you.
Okay, and with that, we would entertain a motion for the day. Member Barkwell. Seconder, Councillor Warren. All in favor? That carries. Thank you, everybody.